This is West Coast Songwriters Conference up in Palo Alto, and you know, I'm not a member of this precise community. I haven't been up here before, but you know, I know from personal experience. I mean, just that having a local community, people to bounce ideas off, people to be inspired by, people to learn even mistakes from, and people to, you know, kind of kick your own butt when you need it and buttress you and help you when you need it. You know, it's kind of key to growing as a songwriter, you know, at kind of whatever level. You know, there have been a lot of years where I've been in and out in certain, you know, kind of certain groups, and then the periods where I've been in have definitely been the most productive. Songwriters aren't crazy. The world is crazy. We're run by a bunch of belligerent psychopaths. I don't know. I don't think songwriters are all that crazy. There's some people who are deliberately quirky, but they're deliberately quirky, which is a whole other thing. There's the occasional bit of mental illness, but I haven't noticed songwriters being particularly out of touch. I think if you're conscious of how crazy this culture is, that's a, you know, that's a radical thought. And so you get treated as if you're a little crazy, but you know, I mean, to some degree this is the asylum, so the same person seems crazy. So for me, songwriting has gone from, in certain ways, the place I escape to something I escape from, because career and music have become very entwined, and when your career is kind of plateauing for a long period, it can get very difficult to go back to writing when your music is both your greatest passion and your greatest source of pain. So it's more complicated now. It used to be it was, you know, the combination of like youthful ego and success made it very easy to just think everything I did was golden. And now my biggest problem is even starting and not distracting myself and going away. So I do a lot more co-writing because having people to answer to is great. I do a lot more project assignment writing where I'll have a band and a set of people that I have to be responsible to, or a project I have to be responsible to, or assignment writing for myself where it's just about a particular subject or whatever. So you know, spewing out the first thing that comes to mind no longer works very well for me. So it's a lot of games, and games, you know, chess is a game. Chess is pretty cool. I don't play it, but I mean, meaning games not in a pejorative sense, but games to get you into songwriting. I mean, there's a reason people call it playing music. It's a creative exploration, and play doesn't necessarily mean lightweight, and game doesn't necessarily mean lightweight. It can be very intense and very real and very emotional, but more and more I require devices to kind of get me in the creative mode. I don't know.
Like a female mud wrestling match or track?
I haven't bumped into my songs very much.
Really?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's been the occasional, you know, on the radio or in the supermarket thing, but I never had like the perfectly spooky, awful, weird, hearing my songs somewhere strange thing. Maybe they'll play them more someday, and then I'll hear them somewhere, but probably not. Yeah, I mean, I've been doing a lot of different projects, and each one of them is a specific kind of writing. And so, WPA was this, big 8-person with 4 lead singers, on different songs project, and everybody wrote individually. I think there was one co-write, which was a song that Luke Bulla sang, but we wrote together, and everything else on the project was written individually or were cover songs. But we all knew we were writing in a particular mode, and it was kind of chromatic, traditional, I guess, more straightforward songwriting, but with kind of unexpected harmonic shifts. And so there was this mode. I knew what songs would be right for that group of musicians, and I, saved those songs for them. The Plover project with Garrison Starr and Nielsen Hubbard, we wrote pretty much everything as we recorded it. We would get together and jam right together, and so those songs were mostly written in the studio. There were 1 or 2 that got brought in. Remote Tree Children is entirely written in the studio, and that was my friend John Askew and I learning Logic together, and we had a friend of ours, Eric Herzog, come in and play a bunch of drums, and one of us would be slicing stuff up and looping and throw it back. I would be on the laptop in one room, and he was on the main computer in the other room. We just kind of handed things back and forth and got things to a place where I'd start throwing vocals on, and so it really, and I like that, as a person who grew up as a total nerd, that I can have this very organic folk outlet, and I can have this extremely technologically oriented geek outlet, and don't have to necessarily try to smush the two together in any way. Yeah, so there's a lot of diversity in that. It's an interesting time. I mean, the influence of technology on songwriting, we have all these tools, and the tools are sometimes stifling because you can just kind of putter for a long time and not really come up with anything, which I've spent my time doing. You still have to have a song, though. I mean, there's an element to which I think, production and texture can take over a song, but that it's not necessarily a problem, because there are writers. I mean, I would say Bjork is a great example of somebody who's very hard to cover. I do a version of Hyper Ballad solo acoustic, but most of her songs, they're kind of about her voice and her texture and her vibe and what she brings out. They're not portable necessarily. Whereas there's not a single song of Gillian Welch's that couldn't be played by somebody else. Every single song of hers is portable as a unit. It is more elemental, and they're both insanely gifted artists. I mean, and so the technology, it's another set of tools, and so I don't know why I'm bringing technology into that particular observation. I mean, of those two, one's technological and one's not, but then Imogen Heap writes incredibly portable songs, and Devendra Barnhart doesn't, right? He kind of needs to sing those, or what is his name? Daniel Johnson gets covered. I don't know. I mean, there are people who are more esoteric, more individualized as writers. So I'm not answering your question. You wanted to know about technology. I guess I would say, I mean, technology makes it very easy to make a great recording of something, and makes it very easy to create potentially inspiring textures, potentially inspiring beds over which a song could be put. But a song is still a song. And while I admire somebody like Bjork, who can write these songs that are utterly, almost entirely about her, I'm not that kind of a writer. I like to write songs that I hope other people could sing, although they seem not to. But but the idea is that the song itself is portable and isn't so tied to production. But you still have to have the song there, and so it's not. I don't know. It's in no way a replacement for having an actual song, but it's a great new set of tools to come up with them. But it still requires that the tool be used, and you add some content to it that's actually worth transmitting and moving around. So.